Hello and welcome to the Perception Podcast. I'm your host, Thomas Casey Zellers, and today we are hopefully going to change your perception on things that you thought you already knew.
Grew up in Indiana my whole life, Indianapolis, and then 20 years old, transplant,
Huge culture shock, I'm sure.
Yeah. Every time I thought I didn't want to do it and I would start to step away or I would step away for a while, I kept getting called back to it.
Was there a lot of sense of community for being a Christian in the LA market?
No.
Or no,
Not at all. And it was drugs, sex, and rock and roll.
Yep.
You know, it's like movies and drugs and party. My team lead hit me up on the walkie. He's like, "Hey, they're doing Bad Boys 3 reshoots. Stage 7. You want to go?" I'm like, "Hell yeah, what's up? Don't ask me no stupid question like that." And that was one of them times where I was like, ain't nobody gonna fucking believe me.
Hello and welcome to the Perception Podcast. I'm your host, Thomas Casey Zellers, and today we are hopefully going to change your perception on things that you thought you already knew. And joining me in the studio today is Stephan Dekemper. How you doing, bud?
Good, man. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Boom.
And today is going to be another fun little episode about filmmaking. Mm-hmm. I know there's probably some people who are like, he always does an episode on filmmaking. It's like, well, I've been in the filmmaking community for quite a while.
Does this guy do anything else?
Yeah. Does he ever change my perception on anything?
Yeah.
I hope I do.
Yeah.
So I kind of just want to get another avenue of life into filmmaking from somebody else in the industry. And,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for
because
sure.
everybody's story is different, you know?
Yeah,
And,
absolutely.
I'm excited to hear a little bit more about yours. We've already kind of shared a little bit back and forth before, but
Yeah.
I just want to know, man, just how you first got into film.
Well, let me take my glasses off. Well, film is very near and dear to me. Mm-hmm. And film is always, if you take it all the way back to the beginning, it really starts with
Like Genesis?
Yes, from the
In the
very
beginning?
Yes.
Okay.
In the beginning, if we take it all the way back to the beginning, it really started out with my family. I can remember being a kid and us watching. I have a big family. I have 5 brothers, right? So there's 6 of us in total. I'm number 5 out of 6.
Okay.
And I always remember us when I was a kid. We would watch movies together. Mm-hmm. And we have a lot of personalities. There's a lot of big personalities in our family, and we don't always agree on everything, but movies were the one thing that we all agreed upon, and then that
Really?
always brought us together. So, and then whenever we would watch movies, we would afterwards talk about what we liked and then what we thought was cool and what we would have done if we would have.
So y'all are just sitting around taking notes as you watch the movies.
Well,
and then,
it would
and then
be
kinda
like mental notes,
Oh, okay.
right? And then just after the movie, oh, what'd you think? We're like, man, did you see the part when that happens? Like, yeah, that was dope. But what would have been better is if
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, it always stuck with me. And when I was a kid, I always thought that movies were real.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and I vividly remember watching From Dusk Till Dawn.
Okay.
And you see Dust Till Dawn?
Yeah.
And I'm like, yo, there's vampires in New Mexico at the titty twister killing people.
Yeah.
We should do something about this. I don't feel safe in Indiana. So, and then, eventually my brother's like, dude, it's not real. It's fake. Mm-hmm. And I was like, really? And he's like, yeah. And this was during the time where, I don't know if you remember, or those of you watching, when we had the TV guide. They used to scroll. You had to turn to a channel, and the guide would tell you the program.
The actual magazine.
Yeah, we had the magazine and then the TV guide, and it would scroll. You had to sit there and wait. And if it went past, you had to wait for it to cycle through and go all the way through again. So the movie would come on, and right after, they would do like the Showtime or HBO special, which would be the making of or the featurette of the movie. So then I started watching those, and I was like, oh, these are people in like costumes, and this is a set, and this is and that was like maybe late 90s, mid to late 90s where I was doing that. And then I just kind of kept watching, and then it just kind of metamorphosized into what it is today.
Yeah, gotcha. Was there one that really stuck out to you the most?
Movie back then?
Yeah, whenever y'all were young, like, was there, maybe not necessarily your favorite, but do you think there was like a collective favorite y'all maybe had? Or?
Yeah. So, and I think I told you this before. From Dusk Till Dawn for sure, because that was the one of the ones where I vividly remember thinking like, this is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is a real thing. And it's like, you know, like
Yeah.
there's the vampires with big mouths and fangs, and this is like extremely crazy. And then also, you know, Selma Hayek's in the movie too, so that does that helps.
Yeah.
But no, two movies in particular I had as a kid on VHS. I used to watch these movies and run them into the ground from watching them so much. And one of them was Ace Ventura, Pet Detective When Nature Calls, and Home Alone 2, Lost in New York.
Okay.
And that is literally like the baseline of my personality, because I just watched that movie so much and it was so funny and it cracked me up. And I know both of those movies like the back of my hand. And I just like, I still till this day, I will watch it as a grown man. I'm 35 years old and it still tickles me.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm a little kid. So,
Yeah.
you know, those would probably be the two ones that definitely made an impression on me.
Yeah.
And then as I began to get a little bit older, there were just films that I watched that, you know, I just, even when I didn't understand filmmaking or storytelling as much as I do now, they made an impression on me, you know?
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. My family has we have a tradition every Christmas Eve to watch Christmas Story, the Ralphie one, not the Ghost of Christmas Past and Present.
That's the one where the old boy gets his tongue stuck on the pole, isn't it?
Yeah. We watch that one every Christmas Eve, and that's one that, like you were kind of saying, I know that one, you know, front to back.
Front to back, yeah.
And then we watch Die Hard on Christmas
that's a
Day.
classic. Yeah.
Because it is a Christmas movie.
It is
I'm
a
dying
Christmas
on this
movie.
hill. It's a Christmas
No,
movie.
it literally is.
Yeah.
Die Hard, Jingle All the Way,
Yes.
Home Alone 2, Christmas Story. What's the other one with Chris Brown? What's the other one with Chris Brown? This Christmas?
Something like,
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Those are all bangers. Classic.
Yeah.
Like traditional movies to watch every single. I always watch Home Alone 2.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, Elf is another good one.
Yeah,
too.
Elf's
That's
a good
another
one too.
classic.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah. Do y'all have any traditional movies that y'all watch every now and again like that? Or
Usually the Christmas movies
Christmas
are the
movies,
ones, that we always revisit. And I have my own personal favorites that I revisit. I'll probably watch some of these movies maybe at least once a year.
I gotcha.
You know, or if I'm like working, it'll be in the background playing or something.
I gotcha.
Something like that. Yeah. So, but as a family, I would say probably this Christmas is one my mom likes a lot. She always puts it on, and then we put on Die Hard as well.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think that's it.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So kind of help me transition here from whenever you were a kid into those early years and then going into like actual, did you go to film school?
Yeah. So,
okay. So how did that sort of transition kind of happen, and what were you learning throughout film school?
So when I was in probably like my early years of high school, probably like, probably middle school, like 8th grade-ish. My oldest brother, Brandon, he had like a camera and he was into like After Effects and Adobe back then. It was early 2000s, and he would come over and we would make home movies like in the front yard and backyard, just messing around, having no clue what we were doing.
Yeah.
But he knew how to like
There's
shoot.
like no white balance or anything.
Nothing. Like literally turn the camera on, and I'm sure we still have these movies on a DVD somewhere, but we would turn the camera on. He'd be like, hey, do this. But he messed with After Effects and stuff enough to know like if we did this and this, it would like he'd be able to change it later on.
Yeah.
Right. So we would make some home movies and stuff like that in the front and backyard, and then I got into editing in I would probably say like sophomore year of high school.
Okay.
And that was what for the first thing I started doing, and this was back when they had Windows Movie Maker on those Windows computers, and I literally started taking the stock footage that was on there, which were just pictures, you know, and then the stock music that they had, which was like Beethoven's Eighth Symphony or something like, you know what I'm saying? And I was putting it on the timeline, and then I would like just mess with different transitions, not knowing what I was doing at all. Right?
Just like a beautiful landscape. And
yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I was doing. So, and I would export it and show my brother who was doing the home movies, and I was like, hey, look, like, check this out, what do you think? And he was like, that's not bad, but you know, if you stick with this could take you really far. And from it coming from him, I was like, okay. And I did. And I just, I'm also.
Was your brother always influential on you like that? Or?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's good.
You see when my car is backed in out there? Yeah. I back my car in because that's my oldest brother always back. When I would sit in the back seat and he would drive, he would back his car in. Wow. And then I always, 9 times out of 10, back my car in. Yeah. So I look up to my brothers a lot. Yeah. And he said that, and then I started like getting better with editing. Yeah. And this is also around the time when like YouTube came out, so I began to like go on YouTube and learn how to edit and stuff like that through there. My brother got me a copy of Adobe Premiere, and then I started cutting on Adobe Premiere. I figured out how to download footage from online, LimeWire, and using LimeWire like Napster, figuring out how to download stuff off of YouTube, and I would take those videos and start to like put it together, and then I would add music, right, different sounds, and some of these videos are actually still out on YouTube right now. Okay. And back then they were getting a lot of views, and I just was doing it just to do it, right? So
gotcha.
I started with that, and then probably my junior year, or maybe the second semester of my sophomore year, or no, I think it was my junior year, I had to take a class for an elective, or an elective for a class. And then someone recommended I take media broadcasting, and I didn't know what it was. And that was a news team. And then I took the class, ended up loving it because it was literally cameras and editing and everything I was doing on my own. And then from there, I stuck with it, and I kept doing. That was like one of the classes I did really well in. Yeah. And from there, I got to my senior year. I kept watching more movies, editing more, but started getting more involved with the camera. Sure. And then after that, I was going to go the broadcasting route. Okay. And my mom kind of nudged. What was
kind of leaning you towards that a little
bit? I love basketball. Okay. And I was just, my mind at that time was being a filmmaker or doing movies seemed like a million miles away. So literally and figuratively.
So it just seemed like maybe like a slighter or slightly easier
path. Ball State had the media program. What was it? The David Letterman program and all that stuff. And I was just like, I love basketball. So I was like, if I just shoot basketball games, I'll be good. You know, and that was like my train of thought at the time. And my mom was like, why don't you nudge me and was like, why don't you try film school? And I was like, I never even thought that I could do that. I didn't know that was an option. You know, and I applied to the New York Film Academy, and I got in. Yeah. And man, it was trippy because I was like, holy crap, like I got into film, I'm going to film school. And I was initially going to go to New York. Wow. But they only had their associates program, and they just opened up an LA branch of the New York Film Academy where you could get your bachelor's. Okay. So I applied, got in, and then decided I want to get my bachelor's, and then shortly after high school, I'm going out to LA at like 20 years old. Yeah. You know, trippy. Right. And then I go, think about that. Grew up in Indiana my whole life, Indianapolis, and then 20 years old, transplant.
Huge culture shock, I'm sure.
Yeah. I got off the plane like, oh my goodness. You know, that's real? This is a real place? Yeah. You know, because I've only ever seen it through the TV. Yeah. So I get there, I arrive, and I just mind blown all the way open. I'm at billboards. I'm like, it's LAPD, you know? You know, I only ever seen LAPD in movies. So I'm like, oh, this is real. You know, and Hollywood Boulevard, like all of that. I just was mind completely blown wide open. And the thing that really got me though is first me and my dad went out to like tour the campus. And I think they knew what they were doing. The campus was on the back lot of Universal Studios. Okay. Which is right across the street from Warner Brothers Studios. Yeah. Yeah. So as we're driving to the campus, I'm literally sandwiched in between Universal and Warner Brothers on the left and Universal on the right. And it just, you're seeing the big WB up there. You're seeing the gate. You're seeing the huge, 50-foot posters of movies and shows that are coming out. I just was like, oh my goodness. And they opened the gate and let us in, and we went and we toured around. They showed us around the back lot of Universal Studios, and my mom, I just looked at my dad. I was like, do I need to say anything?
Yeah.
He was like, this is going to be expensive. But, we figured it out. And so I went to New York Film Academy, ended up transferring a couple of years into that to Columbia College Hollywood, and finished with my bachelor's in cinematography at CCH, which, sadly to say, no longer exists. It was acquired by Arizona State University. So, but yeah.
Gotcha.
That's why I went that route,
Yeah, gotcha. So whenever you first then got into the film, what was your first job then, whenever you first got
my
into
first gig?
Yeah. Were you still in college with your first gig? Or?
Yeah, I was because I'm a social person, so networking for me and mingling comes very natural to me. Very natural, yeah. Yeah, and so we had other people in school who were doing their own things outside of class, and then you would get cool with people and get pulled on. But I would probably say my first real gig was my first real gig was I worked on a short called the Star Trek Prelude to Axanar.
Okay.
And I was a second AC on that.
Gotcha.
And the DP was my cinematography professor, and his name was Milton Santiago.
Okay.
And I actually have got the pictures and video. I can show you some of the stuff when we're done. But he it was hey, it was heavy green screen. We shot everything in a parking lot.
Yeah.
And but when you look at the finished product, it looks great.
Don't even look like it was a parking lot.
Yeah, it's wild. So that was the first thing, and I've got pictures of me. I was one of the first jobs where I really had to bust my butt because I didn't fully understand all of the responsibilities that came with being a real second AC.
Yeah.
On a project with scale.
Yeah.
So it was a lot of responsibility that comes with it, and you're busy constantly throughout the day. You're always having to measure the distance between the sensor and the distance to the floor because they're doing a lot of CG. So those notes have to be given to I think it's either the script coordinator or whoever's your effects team.
So are you writing all that stuff down?
Yeah, I'm having to write that down and take notes. So anytime we adjust,
we got
to adjust the tripod or move it and put it on something else, move the camera on something. Wow. I have to measure that really quickly.
Wow.
Right. So that was the thing. Doing all the marks as people. I was literally the guy the actors are talking to each other in a circle. And I'm just and then yeah, so we're going to come over here. We're going to do that. And I'd have to get down really quick. I have tons of tape going down my pants. And I'd have to, and they're different colors because different actors have different colors.
Yeah.
So I'm had to put that down, and they would be no, I don't like it here. Let's do it over here. And I'm I had to take that up, put it over here and switch it. And then, dude. So, having to do all of that stuff, doing the slate, making sure the slate is accurate and up to date, and you can't be on. It's you can't be on your phone because you have to pay attention.
Yeah.
And if you mess that up, you're out of here.
One time I did slate on a little short film. Real quick, I found out you will get yelled at.
Oh yeah.
If you don't have the slate up to date by the time that they're rolling, you will get yelled at.
And then also too, knowing you slate different ways for different situations. So
slate MOS.
MOS or tail slate, or if it's soft sticks, second sticks. If you mess up the first one, you got to slate again, second sticks.
Yeah.
Doing what is it? MOS. You got to know that you put your fingers through the slate there. You have to all that stuff, bro. I had to know all of that stuff. Yeah. Connecting with sound to do time code. Yeah. Taking notes on the back of the slate and then remembering the take that you were on before so that you can, and then identifying which out of all the takes that you have, which one was the best one.
Yeah.
and then marking that and then giving that to Scripty at the end of the day.
So before we change other people's perceptions, would you say that was a big perception change for you? Like whenever you first got onto a film and you were like, oh, I did not realize like
that was the first one.
Okay.
Yeah, I've had quite a few.
Second one.
Well, I've had quite a few over time because I am a very adventurous person, if you say. So
sure.
if I'm willing to put myself out there in a way that I'm willing to look like the fool to like get the opportunity or like mess up. But when I mess up, I'm like aware enough to be like, okay, I'm not going to do that again. Right.
Okay.
And then like quickly adjust because I've been on some sets where
you may mess up once or twice, but it's not going to happen 3 or 4 times.
Yeah, it's not going to keep happening. Or if I mess up, it's what I've learned is on certain projects, depends on who you're working with. If they see that you're really applying yourself, they may give you some grace. Or some people may pull you to the side and be like, hey, you need to...
You're out of here.
Or I've been on those too where people didn't make it to lunch. And I was like, Jesus, this is nuts. I got to button my top button up. You know what I mean? I was like, gee, I clutch my pearls. I was like, oh, Jesus. And I'll never forget that. That was scary. Yeah. So that was one early on, as well as many others. But the one where I'm at now, the biggest perception is you don't need like a big studio, and you don't need all this extra stuff. You don't need like it's much easier to put something out now than what it was prior.
Okay.
Right. Things are a lot more accessible.
Okay. Yeah. Do you think that that's just really just because of what's the phrase I'm looking for? Ease of access through like YouTube and all that sort of stuff, like any Tom, Dick, and Harry with a camera.
Exactly.
Okay.
So, but the reverse of that is that floods the market with the barrier of entry is much lower, but then that floods the market of like quantity over quality. Right. So an example of that is like if you look on social media today, one person will do something that may start to be catchy, and then all of a sudden it's an unlimited echo chamber of everybody else jumping onto that wave and doing the same thing to like ride the coattails of whatever that person's original thing was. Gotcha. Right. They do all the different variations of it, you know. So originality goes down because the barrier of entry is much higher.
Gotcha.
Right, and you just get a lot of stuff is just, you know.
Yeah, it becomes a lot more competitive at that point.
Sort of, and it's just rinse and repeat of a lot of the same stuff. Yeah, but I do believe that as my guy Macho Man Savage, Randy Macho Man Savage says, the cream always rises to the top. So the real quality and originality always will rise above all the noise.
So as all that's kind of going on, I mean, kind of going back to your days with film school and that first gig that you had and everything like that, was there a part of you that was like, maybe this isn't for me?
A few times.
Or was there a time where it was like, no, I love this so much, like I'm meant to do this?
Every time I thought I didn't want to do it and I would start to step away, or I would step away for a while, I kept getting called back to it. Okay. And every time I try to get out, they pull me back in. Sons of bitches. You know?
It's like that classic, like, this guy's like in retirement.
Yeah.
The old dudes facing retirement. They're like, we need you for one more mission.
Yeah, we need you for one more job. I don't do that anymore. It's not my life. I left that life behind. I was literally that. And there's quite a few times where I was like, man, this feels like work. This doesn't feel like a passion. And then there's been times where, you know, I don't do it anymore, would fall into the trap of comparing myself because I went a different route than a lot of my peers. And I would see that they would be working, you know, normal jobs or working good corporate jobs or working like insurance or something. They're doing fairly good and they have, you know, a nice family. Then they're getting married and they have the house and the car and all that. And I'm like, I need a job. I'm looking for my next gig, you know? And I spent pretty much all of my 20s doing that and moving from city to city looking for work. And like, I don't have any kids or anything like that, so I was able to really go after it. And I would look at, kind of like the stability, grass is greener type of thing, because it's like being a filmmaker, man. It's like, a freelancer. It's like running your own business. You got to get out there and you got to make it happen. You have to figure it out. So
you are your own business.
So that was a thing that was challenging at times, and there was a couple times where I was just like, man, I don't think I start asking, like doubting myself, did I make the right decision? And I know for a fact I did, for sure.
Did being away from home also kind of play into that?
Absolutely.
A little bit?
Many years, many birthdays, many family events, I would be gone. Stuff would be happening with friends, and I would see them together. And then any time I would try to come back for the holidays, I would try to squeeze everything in, like a couple of days or a week or something, and that's tough, So now I moved back to Indy last March, and I definitely, as things have been growing here, is beautiful. And I love it, and I definitely see myself staying here and helping grow the film community here. And it's great because I can spend a lot more time with my family, and that's really what's become one of the most important things to me.
Yeah. Was there like a pinpoint moment for you where you were able to push aside all the doubt and actually be like, no, I need to be doing this? Or do you think it was really just more of an over time type thing?
I think it was over time.
Over time?
Yeah.
There wasn't like that one night or something like that, or
there's not gig, because there's some gigs that I've been able to do and some movies I've been able to work on where I'm like, there ain't nobody gonna believe where I'm at right now. I swear, like, I'm not supposed to be taking pictures or recording. I'm just like. Yeah, I like
just put it away.
Yeah, it's time where I have like shirts that got pockets on it on the front, and I take my phone and just put the phone right there, and just be like, man, this is crazy. Where are we right now? Oh, okay, yeah. And just because I'm like, no one's gonna believe where I'm at right now. This is nuts. There's no way, and but yeah, it's definitely. I would say it's been gradual over time for sure, but one of the big turning points in my life was during COVID, and that was when my dad passed away, unfortunately, during COVID. He had a rare form of cancer, and I had a conversation with him before he passed. And I told him that I was going to do a particular thing, and that thing was in the world of filmmaking. And, when that happened, it was a really emotionally charged moment when I had that conversation. And I'm like, when that happened, it was like, I got to do this. I don't care what anyone thinks. I don't care how foolish I look. From this point forward, I got to figure it out. And that was probably like the point of no return for me, for sure.
Gotcha. I want to dive into the deep section because I feel like this is a good maybe segue.
Yeah, let's do it.
Of it. Would you consider yourself a pretty spiritual person then?
Absolutely, without question.
Gotcha.
I grew up in Christian family.
Okay.
But moving to Los Angeles and being introduced to different ways of thinking, it opened my mind up to being more sort of a spiritual person than a religious person. And I'm definitely am a very, very spiritual person.
Gotcha. Do you think there was a lot of, I don't want to say like people from LA are bad or anything, but do you think there was a lot of negative influence within the LA community and culture that kind of played maybe some spiritual war games on you?
Yeah, for sure. But when the student is ready, the teacher appears. You know what I mean? So I
like that.
there's something I like to call like the threshold, right? Which is like whenever we're going through different stuff or we keep, bumping our heads or having difficult times, everyone has a barrier or like a threshold that we eventually hit. And once we hit that threshold and break past it or hit that, then we're like, no more. I'm not doing that again.
Yeah.
I don't care, like, what it is. And then that's like really like the tipping point of, I think, when a person truly decides to look at themselves and starts to make interchanges of like character and, connecting more with God or source or whatever anybody wants to call it.
Mm-hmm.
And that was what it was for me. I had a couple of bad experiences, where in my early 20s, where I thought I knew how to run game until I ran into somebody who invented the game. Yeah. And I was like, whoa. So, and that was like the really beginning stages of me like starting to open myself up to like, just character development and like growth as a person and connecting more with God and the universe and all that stuff. So,
yeah. Would you say you were more active than you had been before in your faith?
Oh, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. During that time.
What did that kind of look like?
With like what do I do?
Yeah, like were you more in prayer, more in the Bible?
Prayer, yeah. So now today,
Mm-hmm.
Present day, I'm definitely more in the Bible. I kind of was during that time. That was like my early 20s. That was me kind of trying out different things, and what I've learned is it's all essentially kind of saying the same thing, right?
Okay.
And for me,
you mean like all the different
kind of like religions or
Sure.
spiritual teachings and different stuff like that, because
Okay.
I began
Gotcha.
to like study some of the different things.
Yeah.
And then meditation and prayer was definitely implemented in meditation first, and then prayer. It was big on meditation,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I learned like when you wake up in the morning, all the thoughts start pouring in.
Mm-hmm.
So if you take 10 to 15 minutes, or 15 to 20 minutes in the morning
Mm-hmm.
to quiet your mind and set the tone for the rest of the day, then roll into your day. Like that is, you just quiet. Even if in that 15 to 20 minutes you only get like 30 seconds of just
Actual
actual quietness and being present, that's the thing where you're going to be like, all right, like we're good. Or if you're dealing with something stressful, you'd be like, give me 10 minutes, give me 15 minutes. You step away and just quiet your mind for a second. Then I'm like, okay, I can balance out, because, you can get anxiety can kick in, you get frustrated, you can get overwhelmed, all these different things. So that was a big thing for me. And then just recently, I think my relationship with the Bible has definitely, like I'm getting back to like reading scripture. So I'm literally right now in the middle of reading Proverbs.
That's awesome.
Chapter 11 today.
Yeah.
One chapter a day.
Proverbs 12 is one of my favorite chapters.
Yeah.
So I'm excited for you to read some of that stuff.
Yeah.
Man.
As I'm reading through, I was just telling my homegirl, I was like, this is crazy. Like it's like I've known different passages within the Bible, but I've never truly like read it all the way through, or truly studied it all the way through.
Mm-hmm.
So now, as I'm like doing so, I'm reading this. I was like, man, this has like been here the whole time, for one.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like full circle. So all of the other stuff that I like read and was studying is like, this is like making it make sense even more now.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So as I'm reading it and just dealing with stuff with life, it makes sense. Relationships and dating, finding the right partner, wisdom, character, all of that stuff is like, and that's what's become the most important stuff to me.
Yeah. That's awesome, man. I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of you. That's awesome.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's still a journey, bro. It's a lifelong journey.
Oh yeah,
it is. It takes time. I'm still trying to figure stuff out and overcoming stuff. Trying to keep like my ego. Sometimes it's like my head's inflated. I'm just like, what? What do you mean? What? And then later on, I'm like, what was I thinking? I was doing too much. Man.
Yeah.
I don't know what came over me.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Was there a lot of sense of community for being a Christian in the LA market?
No,
or like, no,
not at all. No, it's a much more.
Like, I'm not saying it's not Christian friendly, but there just wasn't like
I just wasn't in those spaces.
Gotcha.
I was around a lot of, I'm talking about Hollywood, baby. Yeah,
Yep.
Hollywood.
Sex talks. In
Yeah,
Hollywood.
all that stuff. It was all of that, man. It was drugs, sex, and rock and roll.
Yep.
You know, it's like movies and drugs and parties. Like where I lived at, you know, my neighbor. I lived in North Hollywood. My neighbor was the drummer of a very prominent band, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he would have, and his girlfriend at the time was a porn star. Right, and they would have parties, but I was like a normal guy. I'm a kid in school, you know, and he's used to that type of stuff. And we would meet, and then he would tell, he's like, "Yeah, I do drums for them." I was like, "For real? I used to listen to you when I was a kid." And we became cool. He's my neighbor. I'd hang out with him all the time, and then he'd be like, "Hey man, I'm having a party. You should come through later on." And I'm like, "All right," and then I go up there, and the party's like normal, and then I would just kind of, as later it'd start to get a little bit more weirder. It would start to get. And, you know, I would be in, like, parties, man, and just kind of hanging out. And people from across the room, you, like, make eye contact with somebody from across the room, and they'd be like, I'm like, what? Like,
What's that?
The hell? I'm like, I don't do drugs, man.
Yeah.
You know? This is getting a little, you know, people come out with trays of extracurricular activities. And you know, you know, stuff like that, and it would get a little wild in there, you know. And I'm like, it's time for me to go, you know. And I was always too scared to do stuff like that, you know. It wasn't how I was raised, and honestly, I always thought if my mom found out I was doing it, she would whoop my ass. My mom would come into this party right now and grab me and pull me out of that.
She'd grab you by the hair and just be like, "Boy."
In front of everybody. So I'm like, no, my mom don't play that. So, you know, that was a thing for me when it started to get too weird. You know, I was just like, all right, man, I'm out of here. Like, I'll catch y'all later. I'm not on that. You know, so, you know, that just Christianity in those spaces, I don't think was a thing that was that was necessarily existing in those type of spaces. So you know, I would be around it, but it wasn't. I just would always kind of peace out fairly early on if it started to get weird. Yeah.
Did you get looks?
What do you mean?
Whenever you would leave early or anything like that?
No, but
people pressure you at all to stay? Or?
No, but I would. People honestly would apologize to me later on for like, like in inviting me, or they didn't like mean to offend me or whatever, you know, stuff like that. Yeah. So, I mean, this is like circa 2013-ish, 14-ish, when all this was happening. So, but yeah, dude, I'm like a 24-year-old, 25-year-old, you know, and all that. And I just was like, no, bro, I'm not on that. That's not what I'm, you know, I gotta finish school. Like, you know, and it was never a thing for me that really took me down that route. Yeah.
Do you think you face any challenges as being a black man in that community as well, or were they very kind of open to you, or was there still kind of like some like, yeah, we're open to you, but we're also still kind of somewhat racist?
I don't. If I did, it wasn't blatant, but I think anybody who's a filmmaker faces challenges in general in that industry. Whether it's like a racial challenge or a financial challenge in relationships, or, you know, there's a lot of things that come with being in that industry or in this industry that you have to love the medium to stick around. Because there's a lot that will test your character, it will test your relationships, it will test your faith, it will test your pockets, it will test a lot of different things about you. And I think that's kind of another reason why I was like, did I make the right decision? Like, is this, you know, and you hear stories and stuff like that. Well, I'm like, yeah, okay. And then until you actually like experience it, you're like, dang, this is for real, you know? There's just tons and tons of stories. But, you know, I've definitely faced some challenges, and racially, I think so, you know? There could have been times where maybe there was a racial undertone to it and I didn't maybe fully pick up on it, but it's definitely I'm pretty sure I've if I think back on certain things, I can't think of anything right off the bat right now, but if I really like take a moment to think back on it, probably so. More than likely, yeah. But I grew up in a diverse home, so my dad's white. So people don't know that. But, I'm not, you look at some of my brothers are mixed. So it's like, that doesn't, it kind of goes over my head sometimes. So, and other times it's a little bit more blatant, but yeah.
Yeah. I get you.
Yeah.
What would you say is like kind of the biggest difference between, say, local filmmaking, and by local, I don't want to say like indie. I definitely want to say like.
When you say indie, you mean like independent or Indianapolis?
Independent.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah. Indie and indie. Yeah.
Yeah.
Would you say for the local filmmaking industry, what's like one of its biggest challenges to try to be one of those bigger cities, essentially, or bigger?
Meaning
bigger?
One of the challenges for Indianapolis?
Probably, sure. Yeah.
Well, I've only been back for like a year and some change, and I can only speak on what I've noticed. And what I've noticed is I've noticed that Indy has an outdated perception of itself.
We're very like 2010.
Yeah.
Mindset.
And people outside of Indy has an outdated perception of Indy.
Sure.
When I came back, being gone for for like 15 years, I'm like, man, Indy's dope. When I walked in here, I was like, I don't even know we had this here. And I've lived in many different places. I lived on the West Coast, down south. I've lived abroad, and I come back and have a lot of like life experience, and I'm like re-experiencing my own city with new eyes, right? Because I've grown as a person, and there's like stuff that used to be here all the time that's not there anymore, and I'm like, that's not here, and then then other new stuff where I'm like, when did they build this? What is this? And I'm like, what's this red line doing through the middle of the city? What is this? And I'm like, man, this is crazy. And I'm like, the city is actually cinematic as hell. And we actually have in filmmaking, there's the ecosystem of filmmaking, right? So there's all the different departments, which are industries within themselves. The ecosystem already exists here.
Oh, yeah.
So it's about having that ecosystem work in unison together and come together on larger scale stuff. There's a lot of like, 10K or 15, 25K smaller scale projects that are being done. There's a lot of promotional stuff. There's a lot of social media stuff, which is great. Sports, documentaries, all that stuff is great. But from my perspective, I think that we have everything we need here in Indianapolis, or just in the state of Indiana. And Indiana's cinematic AF, we have everything we need here. And I believe that we have to, the challenge is helping other people, selling other people on that idea, getting other people to buy into that vision.
Sure.
Right. And I think we have a collective community within film that agrees with me when I say this, or they are like, oh yeah, I agree. But then when you start to kind of branch outside of that, you can run into a lot of different hiccups or barriers with trying to get people to understand it, because when they think of filmmaking, they think of Hollywood. Indiana is a traditional red state or more conservative state, so we don't want any weird stuff going on here. Keep that weird shit out of here. And it's like, I didn't think about that before, and I'm like, oh, okay, I got you. Okay, like, I understand that concern, but there's so much more outside of just weird Hollywood stuff, right? It creates jobs, it boosts the creative economy. It's like
you create a melting pot of different people, different cultures, different stories.
Exactly. Indiana's rich in history. We have a lot of creative talent here, like yourself, and we're more than cornfields and basketball. And people still think Reggie Miller and Peyton Manning, like in NASCAR. It's like, bro, that was years ago. Like we're more than that. We have a lot more that's going on here in the city, and I mean, when I'm out sometimes, I'll run and see the locations and buildings. I'll be like, dude, we can shoot a movie here.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, dude, like we've got all 4 seasons. I didn't realize we have a beach now. I didn't. When did that happen? We have a beach. When did we get that? How did that happen? Right? The only thing we don't have, I think, is mountains. You know, but if you drive,
you gotta go to Bloomington. But even then, those aren't mountains.
But you can sell it if you shoot it properly. It can look like mountains.
Look like
right. We got the big school universities. We've got the racetracks. We got sports on lock. Convention centers. We've got the architecture downtown in the urban areas. We've got the small town vibes for locations. We've got the cornfields and the small town vibes for like horror films or whatever. And it's like we have everything we need.
Oh yeah.
You know, and within like an hour radius.
Oh dude, I was driving early one morning and it was I don't know what you would call it, but like, you know, like that weird fog or like dew or haze that kind of just settles on like some mornings and whatnot. Dude, I was driving through cornfields one morning.
You saw Jeepers Creepers, didn't you?
Oh, dude, I saw Children of the Corn, if anything, man. I was terrified.
No. Yeah, that's fried. Yeah, that's hilarious.
But like, still to me, kind of like to your point, though, I was sitting there driving through it like, this is scary.
Yeah.
But this would be really cool.
This would be dope for a film.
Shot something here.
I'm telling you, man. Like we have it all here. So, I think like that's the big thing is like helping people to understand that, you know, we have a lot more to offer from a filmmaking standpoint. You know, that's my area of expertise and knowledge, and that's one of the main reasons. One of my main focuses is to help like cast that vision and get that out there and show people and as in many ways as I can that hey, Indiana is a premier filming destination. We have everything we need here.
Gotcha. How would you today change the audience's perception in your words about filmmaking? Because I mean, we've kind of already been touching on it. Like local filmmaking is, you know, it's a lot of people just go grab a camera, grab a couple people that can do this or that, and they sort of create a sense of community around it, as compared to say like, you know, big Hollywood sets, which you've been on. So you've seen the spectrum, the low and the high side of things. So how would you change that perception today?
I would leverage the Midwestern work ethic and interest that people have here. I'm talking about specifically this market. I would leverage those two things. I would leverage those things and the favors, because it's still such an early market that you can kind of still ask for favors or like get stuff for free, right? But you have to treat people well. You know, like figure out barter, some type of thing. I would leverage those type of things with smart concepts and ideas that can be done for low budget.
Okay.
Right. So like an example of that would be, let's say if you have a crime thriller that you're working on, right?
Okay.
Here in Indiana, and you write it in a way to where the locations are very easy locations to utilize. You've got a crew who's all bought in on that and are willing to bring their own equipment and stuff like that. And everyone's like, you may be able to pay them a little bit or maybe nothing, but you can feed people and everyone's like in it together. Everyone's all bought in on this one thing. That in turn allows people to bring like their own equipment to contribute to the project, right? So now you've got crew and equipment for close to nothing. And I would say, what would be the other thing? Locations. You can still get locations for close to nothing or for free or cheap, or like asking people, can they help or volunteer or something. And like the studio, for instance, right? So let's say, for an example, if someone's trying to utilize, or like, let's say like the cornfields or a small town.
Sure.
That type of stuff, filming doesn't happen there. So if you're telling someone that you're trying to shoot a movie there and you're like, hey, do you think we could come back and use the the school gymnasium or whatever in the small town, they're probably like, well, yeah, here's the keys, lock up when you're done. You know what I mean? Or just tell Jim will lock up when you're finished, or call him and he'll come in. And it's like that. They're open to that. Take all of those type of things that you can leverage with an actual like great concept that's shot really well and good writing, right? Yeah. And then try to get the best acting that you can, and just try to like utilize your budget in the best way possible. Leverage those things that you can, and really put something out of quality, and then promote the hell out of it.
Yeah, I've seen that there's two different kinds of reactions, specifically here in Indiana when it comes to filmmaking. Is either kind of like what you were saying, it's like, yeah, sure, yeah, you guys can film here, we don't care. Or the attitude is, not in my backyard. You ain't filming anything here, you know what I mean? But luckily I've been on the side of more people being like, oh, that's cool, which to me kind of like reassures me like that there is a genuine interest here in Indiana for more filming. Yeah,
I mean, people are comfortable with where they're at and how things are. So if you come in trying to rattle that or shake that up or do too much, they're, nope, shut it down. Nope, I don't like it. And there's the same thing in other cities too. Like when I was in Atlanta, I worked in the locations department. On a couple of projects, and part of locations is having to go and notify. Let's say we were going to be filming here, we would have to go, and like it would probably be, I don't know, maybe like 2 or 3 blocks out radius around that location. You have to go out and notify everybody in that area. So you have to go through each street and business and literally pull up and then just drop off a thing and say, hey, we're going to be filming here in the area. Because if you don't, they can complain to the city.
Do you already have like permission?
Yeah, you've got your permits, you got all your stuff to do that.
But you're just notifying them.
You're just notifying them, hey, this is what we're going to be doing, so that then they can't turn around and say, oh, I wasn't notified.
I never knew that.
What's the term? I'm inconvenienced. You're messing up my business because you're filming your trucks are on the street and all that, and it's like, so that's a whole thing, and you have to do that, and you permit it, but you still got to notify the area. Now it's like you just, he's like, not my backyard, probably go to the neighbor. They're like, yeah, it's fine, don't worry about it. Boundary line's right there. Just don't cross that.
Just don't cross this. Yeah, see where I mowed right there?
Yeah, exactly. See that yardstick right there? Don't go past that. Yeah. So, yeah, man.
Yeah, gotcha. Gotcha. So I'm more fascinated now about all your experiences and everything. Man.
I got stories, man.
Yeah. Well, all right. So then tell me some crazy experiences.
Craziest experiences.
Yeah. I'm really fascinated because I mean I've been on a few big sets, but nothing as like grand as like Hollywood, anything like that.
Look, two biggest projects I was on. Well, I'll do the biggest project I was ever on was Godzilla King of Monsters.
Okay.
Blew my mind wide open. The scale of that thing. I was just in like, where am I right now? Like, this is crazy, right? Yeah. And I was, O'Shea Jackson Jr., you know who that is?
Yeah.
I was his photo double on that movie.
Okay.
So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right? Because I was really trying to like push to get into acting more. And it was trippy because I'm like right there. And the photo double, for people who don't know, is they use me for like rehearsing and the lighting and getting the marks and the camera, all of that stuff. And then literally right when they're getting ready to roll, the main actor comes in and is like, all right, right on, bro. And I step out and he does the thing. And then when they cut, I get back in there and then they light and do all that stuff. Or sometimes if it's like a reverse, like I say, if on a dialogue scene like this where the camera's here and then they do the reverse and they go back and forth on a dialogue scene, if sometimes the main actor, it's not him. It's me sitting there. And the camera's there and they're having the dialogue and it's da-da-da-da-da. And then when it's time to get up, I got to get up and go. And he comes in and sits down.
I'm going to go home and watch Godzilla King of Monsters.
It's crazy, man.
And be like,
there he is, back of his neck. So, and when I was there, I have to show you. But when I was there was a scene where a couple of scenes, but they turned this was like the height of all the filmmaking that was going on in Atlanta. They were filming all the Marvel movies down there, tons of stuff all the time. So they turned, all the studios were pretty much in use. So they turned like a old refinery building that had like open space into a little mini studio. Gotcha. And it was like half the size of a football field, and there's a scene in the movie where they're landing at a military base in like Antarctica or somewhere, right? But that's really shot inside of the base or the refinery in Atlanta. Really? And they took this giant blue screen curtain that dropped like 100 feet long all the way down. It was like half the size of a football field, and it wrapped all the way around the thing. And then they made the snow out of white sand and styrofoam. And they lit it, and then they had the back end of like, there's a scene where like the helicopter lands, and then when it lands, the door, bay door, like whatever, hatch opens up, and they all go out in the military form, and they're in formation, and they're getting ready to like breach the building. That was on like a system that had like, it was like rigged to like a drop system or whatever, and I'm like, this was the back of the helicopter. It would drop down like this and land, but it was just the bay. There was no helicopter. It was just a little like cargo mini thing that was painted to make it look like that, and then when it landed, it opened up. But they shot it in a way that made it look like it was a real helicopter. And it opens up, and I come out in my military uniform, and I'm like, yeah. And then I'm like, all right, look good, come on. And then they switch out, and then the real person comes in, O'Shea comes in, tags me out, and he does it. And then there's another one where they're inside the base now, and there's like a shootout that happens. And like I go through, and we're like, the camera's behind me, and we're like going through like this, and then I'm like hit it with the whole signal, and I'm like this, and I'm like, I think I do like this, and I do like that, and then when that happens, it's like literally some guy on a speaker is like, boom, and then we're all like, oh, and then he's like, and action, and then it's like, pop, 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 we start shooting and stuff like that, and it's like, it's wild because I'm like going through the motion of doing it and working on a big film, but then like right when it's actually time to like roll the camera and do it, quote unquote, for real, I'm getting tagged out, and I'm just like, I
kind of want to do that.
I'm like, I'm right there. That's what I want. I'm like, So that was one, man. I met Clint Eastwood one time.
Oh, yeah?
Got to work with him one day. Yeah. That was crazy. I'm like, this Clint fucking Eastwood right there. And I think we joked about this before. I was like, Clint Eastwood's been like 76 for the last 20 years. He don't age.
Same as Morgan Freeman.
Yeah, Morgan Freeman, yeah. They've been the same age. They've been old as hell for a long time. And that was trippy because I'm like, holy shit, this is Clint Eastwood right here.
This is Dirty Harry.
Yeah, this is Dirty Harry. This is like legendary. And being there watching him work, and it was just for a couple hours, but I just was like, yo, this is really Clint Eastwood, right? This is nuts. Working on the last movie I did was Coming to America. The second one that came out, being on set with, it's a great story, being on set with Eddie Murphy, because they brought everybody back, so Wesley Snipes, Eddie Murphy. The only person that wasn't there was James Earl Jones. But dude, Morgan Freeman was there, like Rick Ross was there, Leslie Jones was there, Arsenio Hall was there, and I just was like, dude, and growing up black, Coming to America, the first one is like, it's like a household staple. Everybody knows Coming to America, Sexual Chocolate, right? So for me to be working on the second one is just nuts, to me, and to be able to meet these people and like have conversations with them.
Did you watch Coming to America as a family growing up?
Absolutely.
So was it kind of like a surreal moment for
you a little bit? I was one of the ones where I'm like, y'all not going to believe where I am right now. I was inside of the Mighty Sharp Barbershop, like, dude,
we so watched this when we were kids.
Yes, I'm like, this is nuts for me to be here, right? So when that was going on, my team lead, we were on like a different, there's like, I don't know, like 12 sound stages. We were on like on stage 8. And my team lead hit me up on the walkie. He was like, Steve, what's your 20? And I'm like, oh, I'm on the stage. He's like, come outside real quick. I'm like, all right. I go outside. He was just like, hey, they're doing Bad Boys 3 reshoots on stage 7. You want to go? I'm like, hell yeah, what you talking about? Ask me no stupid question like that. What you talking about? He's like, Will Smith and Martin Lawrence. I'm like, hell yeah, I want to go. So we like break away for a minute. We go over there and we walk in, and I'm like, ooh, and Will Smith is like right there. And I'm like, get the fuck out of here. I'm like, it's really him. I'm like, oh, and that was one of them times where I was like, ain't nobody gonna fucking believe me.
Yeah.
And I'm like sitting there like recording.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, this is crazy.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there and I'm watching them as they're doing their thing. Mm-hmm. And there's a guy standing next to Will Smith who, an older white guy. And he's like, his head is down. He's like writing and taking some notes and stuff like that. And I was like, who the fuck? And I was like, oh shit, that's Jerry Bruckheimer. And Jerry Bruckheimer is right there.
Yeah.
But when I said it, when I thought it in my mind, but I said it out loud. I'm like, oh shit, that's Jerry Bruckheimer. He literally goes and looks right at me, and I'm like, ooh, like he said that, and I was like, I just started. There was like a light. There was like a light. Yeah. There was like a light switch right there. I was like, oh, I was like, yeah, this switch is working fine here. I'm like, yeah, this is.
I meant the switch. The switch is Jerry Bruckheimer. I'm gonna leave.
Yeah, I'm gonna leave. I was like, ooh, he looked right at me.
Yeah,
and I'm like, ooh wee, and then like that was trippy.
Yeah,
like but when I seen Will, I was like, bro, this is wild. We're like the same size. I was like, we the same size. I thought he was like
6'5".
I thought he was like 10 foot tall.
Yeah.
So that was a trippy one, and one of the ones that means a lot, though they all mean a lot, but one that's the most that I think about often is I had a chance to work on a movie, The Hate You Give, and that was one of the first ones where I saw my name in the credits. Because sometimes they don't always give you credit.
Right, yeah.
So I've got the video of that one too, and I'm sitting there, we did the movie, and I'm sitting there and I'm watching it, and you stay after to watch the credits, and it's just going and going and going, and it comes up, and I was like, oh shit, I am, and I still got the video, and it's like great. So I went and saw it when it came out, and I told my parents about it back here in Indiana, and then they went to go see it, and it was a great experience because my mom and dad both went to go see it, and this was like probably 2018, I think, or something before my dad passed. And, he got to see my name in the credits. And my mom told me that when he stayed behind and he was watching and all that, and then he saw my name, he was like, that's my son, yelling and telling her, hey. And I was like, man, like that, I wasn't there for that, but, it was like cool that he got to see that. You know what I mean? And like, I'm not out here lollygagging or messing around. Like, I'm really trying to make this thing come to life, So that's probably one of the biggest ones for me. Yeah.
Wow, that has to be, I mean, gosh, that's got to be tough to miss out on, but it's also got to be like reassuring.
Yeah, he got to, it was just like, my dad
Before
is like,
he died too, which is that's got to be even more impactful for you.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that was a big one for me, man. That was just like, he got to see that. He saw his son. I'm like, I'm out here.
Yeah.
I'm making this happen. So that was a big one for me.
That's awesome. Man. So, tell me a little bit about this project you got going on here. You are going by the name of Miami Steve.
I am, yeah. Let me put my sunglasses on for this. All right, cool.
So welcome to the show, Miami Steve.
What's happening? I'm here now. We can start, y'all.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Sorry. Hi, welcome to the Perception Podcast. We'll just run the intro again. So why Miami Steve?
Like the name? Mm-hmm. Well, the story behind Miami Steve comes from an interesting experience that I had, a life experience. Part of that is tied in with everything that happened with my dad. And honestly, so what happened was I've actually have had different monikers or nicknames throughout the years when I was younger. You know, when I was like in middle school, it was Steve-O Supremo. And then in high school, it was Jumpman Jr. because everybody knows me that knows I'm a big Michael Jordan fan.
Okay.
Right. So, and I used to always only wear Jordan. Like I had a Jordan backpack, I had the Jordan shoes.
Pump them up at all? Or?
No, I don't think any of the Jays did that, but it was always everything I had. My keychain was Jordan, my backpack was Jordan, the coat I had in the wintertime, my hat was like Jordan, everything. Jordan, everything. Right. And, you know, that was a whole like thing.
That's Michael Jordan. Right?
Yeah. No, yeah. All right. Let's wrap this up. We're going to go ahead and end there. But yeah, so, you know, and that was just like me and like me at those like alter egos of who I was at that time. Right. So,
yeah.
I've always kind of had those, and the Miami Steve thing came about as really, man, Miami Steve is the guy who I always wanted to be when I was a kid, right? So it's my idea of this guy who's this cool guy, successful filmmaker, you know, or this, you know, whatever I had in my mind at that time, it was like, it's that guy. That's the guy I've always wanted to be. And I began to ask myself certain questions. Well, who is this person? Where does he live? How does he walk and talk? How does he carry himself? How does he dress? Then I started wearing the shades and the sunglasses indoors, you know, and, you know, wearing vibrant shirts, and I just created a character. And they talk about this in scriptures. I take off the old man and put on the new man. Right. And this was a person who is very close to, you know, my inner child. It's the inner child version of myself.
So you've incorporated, all different life experiences that you've had really into this character.
Yeah, it just kind of all like converged into this thing, but it birthed out of the experience I had with my pops during COVID, right? So when I had that conversation with him, I said, hey, I'm going to do this thing. And then shortly after, like, you know, that was a super emotionally charged time for me as well. The world was on fire. There was so much going on, you know, and for everybody. And, you know, shortly after that, like this idea of this show, it really came up as a show, popped in my mind. And I didn't know what to call it at first. And it just was kind of like me trying to explain it to people and tell. It was just like a marble slab or like a blob of clay. I didn't even know how to explain it at first. Yeah. I just was trying to like express myself.
I just have an idea.
Yeah, I just have it. And what was interesting about it is when the idea first came to me, you know, because it's really a show, it's a concept that I came up with. And when it came to me, I first thought, no, I almost killed it. You know, I almost killed that idea off. And this first came to me in like 2020, probably the tail end of 2020. And I thought, nah, that'll never work. It's too big. It's doing too much. And, you know, during COVID, I was doing a lot of reading and studying because we didn't have anything else to do. So I was reading a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
One of the things that, you know, I had read is from like spiritual teaching, you nurture your ideas. Right. And I thought at that time, no, that's too much. That's too big. That'll never work. But then literally like half a second after that, I thought, but what if it did work? And then from there, I just kept thinking about, well, what if this thing did work? What would that actually look like?
So it's starting to really kind of become more God-breathed.
Yes, exactly.
This idea.
Yes, absolutely. There's no way I would have come up with this idea. Yeah. Like, God was like, I was wanting something. I had all this stuff going on. God was like, here you go. He hit me with a little
spark of inspiration.
Pop, you know, and I just was like, oh, it's too much. And I was like, but what if it did work though? Yeah. And then I just started like working on it and trying to explain it to people. And I was just like, it was like a blob of clay. I didn't even know how to explain. I was like, it's kind of like this and it's kind of like that. And what was interesting is people would say, that kind of sounds like XYZ, or that kind of sounds like this. And I would note that down and go look into it. And I'm like, yes, this is exactly what I was trying to explain.
Yeah.
Right. And then the more I stuck with it and the more I kept eventually trying to articulate it, all of a sudden I've got characters, now I've got a log line, and now I've got a script, and now I've got, a 6th draft and a 12th draft, and now I've got, character arcs and a pitch deck, and I've got all these things where it's like it's being brought into the light. You know what I mean? It's being, I'm just trying to like channel it through, bring it to life in the best way that I can with what I have.
Yeah.
Right. So that's what I began to do, and then I also began to, since I'm playing this character in the story, I began to take off Stephen and put on Miami Steve, and I began to walk in it and live it out.
Sure.
Right. I'm gonna change my wardrobe. I changed my hair up. I dyed my hair. I had the blonde patch for it. I just recently took the blonde patch out. I'm probably gonna come back, put it back in. But if you go back and look at a lot of my stuff, I had the blonde patch in there, and it was just like me stepping into this role on like almost method, if you will, and like living it out and walking in the unseen, right? And speaking of it as if it's already real. Some people may think that some of the stuff that I have said about it or how I carry myself or what I do, they're like, this dude's tripping. And really I'm just following what the teachings say. Speak of the unseen, if it was seen, and the unseen becomes seen. Do it, be it, live it out. Like, live it. And that's what I began to do. And the more I did that, the more it became more natural. At first it was kind of weird and awkward. I didn't know how to talk about it or explain it. And I kind of would walk in and be like, take my shades off, and stuff like that. And I'm like, no, this is me. This is who I am. That's where all that stuff came from. And it began to take shape and form, and then I created the concept of the show with it. And and anytime I know now, I can like jump into it quickly, almost like getting into character really quickly.
Sure.
And then sometimes I'm just like chilling. I'm just like, I'm not really on that right now, but that's really what it kind of comes from and what it's about.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, for sure.
We're going to wrap up, but I do have one other question for you, sir. Yeah. With everything that had gone on with you in the early years, and then also in LA, film school, all that sort of stuff, and now going into this Miami Steve thing, what are really your big plans and hopes that you hope to accomplish for the future? And I guess also on top of that, too, a two-parter. Oh, okay. Boy.
Here we go. We get a twofer.
How do you feel led spiritually with that future as well?
Well, what my plans are directly feed into how I'm being led spiritually, if that makes sense.
Yes.
So I realize what my purpose is. And there's a quote that I love, is I think it's something along the lines of, what is it? So you have the two most important days of your life is the day that you were born and the day you figure out why you were born, right? Like what your purpose is here.
Yeah.
And I believe I've uncovered what that is just recently, and we have a lot of the, like how you said, it kind of has like spiritual undertones of with Miami Steve. It's taking that source material and blending it with a passion and gift that I have for storytelling and filmmaking. So, and that leads into the type of work and what my goals are and what I want to do. So, 50% of that is just, I just want to, make some fun, cool stuff and create. Yeah. The other part of that is I want to be able to take these underlying core themes and messages and inject them into, a story with a dope backdrop. So an example of that would be like a cool sci-fi movie or whatever, and there's some action and dope stuff's going on, but the underlying theme and core of it, is spiritually rooted. Yeah. Right. And I am a big believer. I have a strong connection with my faith, and I believe that's what I'm supposed to talk about. Gotcha. And that's what I'm supposed to bring to life. My plans are one would be getting either the short episode, getting funding for the pilot episode for Miami Steve. It's a 1 hour streaming series, 60 pages. So I want to get filming for the pilot episode, and then take that and push that through episodes. Or if I can, we also did a short version of it, which is roughly around 30 pages. If I can shoot that and then get promote that, push that out, and get funding for the pilot or full first season.
Yeah.
That's one of the big things. Help turn Indiana into a premier filming destination, and try to help as many people as I can along the way, and look damn good doing it. Yeah.
You silver-tongued devil, you
son of a.
All right, well, go ahead and you might want to take the shades off, but look into that camera right there
this
and
one
let
right
people, let people know where they can find you, social medias, all that sort of good stuff.
For sure.
Yeah.
So again, my name is Stephan Dekemper, aka Miami Steve. You can find me on my socials at Stephan.Dekemper or at I am Miami Steve. That's one M.
It's one M.
One M.
I am Miami Steve.
I am Miami Steve. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Well, dude, thank you so much for being on today, and I mean, sharing your story.
Yeah, for sure.
Man,
Absolutely, man.
I really do appreciate it, and I've really appreciated our friendship as well, and I hope that we continue to talk more and keep sharing more and more on film and everything, dude.
Yeah, man, it's a true pleasure. I appreciate you having me out, and I'm looking forward to not only showing you the stuff that I was talking about in the show, but you know, bringing to life some of the stuff that we talked about.
You're gonna have to show me that stuff.
Yeah, I'm gonna show you. It's wild.
Godzilla King of Monsters. It's
trippy,
dude. I'm a big monster movie guy. I love monster movies. That one to me, it's just like it had Rodan, Ghidorah, everything. I was like, oh yeah, dude. I was excited.
They were like, no pictures, no video. I was like, bullshit. I'm getting pictures and video.
Taking all the photos.
Ain't nobody gonna believe me.
Yeah,
man.
Well, awesome, man. Thank you again.
Absolutely,
so much.
for sure. True pleasure.
Yeah. If you like today's episode, please be sure to like, share, and subscribe. I'm your host, Thomas Casey Zellers, and I will see you in the next one. Later.